This is Conversations on Creating the Heal. Today, I'm thrilled to be speaking with Greg Hammond in Washington, D.C., a musician, author, philanthropist, and peace activist, creator of the Greg Hammond Guitar Method for Adults, founder of the Global Jam for Peace, and director for Make Music Day, Washington, D.C. So he's going to share how music and art has helped him overcome diverse challenges, paving the path to become the leader that he is today. Welcome, Greg.
Hi there.
So briefly, how do you creatively identify yourself? Maybe you can tell us and maybe give a short mission and purpose?
Well, thanks for having me. And yeah, I'm a songwriter. I'm an artist. I am an author. I'm a musician. And I'm a teacher and a healer. And the healing comes through my teaching and my mentoring.
That's a wonderful mission. Maybe we can talk a little bit about your transformation story and how this all started. So are there any unexpected life events or hardships or difficulties? And in what ways has that most significantly transformed you?
I have a long history of some very difficult things to deal with, starting in my childhood. Divorce, there was a lot of abuse in my home growing up, and a lot of people who weren't great people, people doing their best, but not great people who, the abuse that I went through with my sisters was very difficult for us. And the places that I went where you would normally get some kind of help, like churches and schools and counseling like that, were failing me as well. And so I lost a lot of faith in being able to trust people, the trust issue, and then the self-confidence. And going through life, that led me to those types of things in the beginning, sort of laid this bumpy foundation where I turned to drugs and alcohol and used those to numb out the pain and try to forget about those experiences that I'd had. And the one thing that really was there outside of that type of the self-medication from drugs and alcohol was music.
That's a common thing that we end up, searching for other ways to deal with our difficulties. And it's great that you ended up, turning to music. Was that an art form that you had been creating and expressing in before? Or was it new to you when you were processing the difficulties that you were going through?
At a very early age, I remember experiencing the emotional connection with music in the car when we were driving somewhere, and a song, Leaving on a Jet Plane by Peter, Paul and Mary came on, and I was maybe 5 or 6 and I started to cry. And that was this emotional connection I had with music. I didn't understand why. And then later on in life, for me, the vinyl, the big pieces of vinyl that you would put on the record player, I would sit in my room to escape all of the things that were plaguing me, the experiences, the memories of those. The vinyl, playing all of my records on my record player, would take me away. So I could find the music was this catalyst outside of what I was experiencing. And another time one night I woke up, it was about 3:30 in the morning, and I was with my sisters in a hotel room. We were staying there because of the difficult situation, and there was a song that popped on the radio. It was Jerry Rafferty's band, and that song, the saxophone and the guitar, those two instruments, I felt like I was in the music. That's the easiest way that I can explain. I felt like the music came and I was inside of that music being transported. And that was a real turning point for me in my mind of acknowledging at a young age that music was this thing that was, I want to say, magic, because of the way that it was making me feel. And I knew that I wanted to be able to do that.
Yeah, there's a lot of resonance there for me too. I also spent many a night, listening to vinyl, and it's as if, you're taken away to a different place where you don't have to think about all of these the things that are plaguing you. You're founder of Global Jam for Peace and the Guitar Method for Adults. So how have creating or sharing these kinds of tools and resources and techniques helped you or others heal? And how do you experience that healing? For example, is it spiritual, is it physical, or is it something else?
Well, that's a great question. And actually, I feel like it's a little bit of all of those. On an emotional level, the music takes me, on an emotional level, it takes me to a place where I can find and connect with being sad, being happy, and through music. And teaching music, I started to discover why. I started to tap into, I knew that it was happening, but I didn't know why. And as I became a teacher and was sharing that, I had lots of students. And the blessing of being a teacher is that the students always ask great questions. And so as I'm a teacher, I was also a student. And I started to pick apart why particular elements of music was able to create the emotional connection that I was having. One monumental thing for me was getting jumped by a gang of kids here in Washington, D.C. I was walking down the street, a gang of kids as a gang initiation surrounded myself and my dad and attacked us. And I remember thinking, why would these kids do this? And I had a quick flashback to when I was a child, that I got into a lot of trouble because of just the situation. And I remember thinking that those kids needed music, that the thing for me that had taken me out of a rough road, out of a bad place, was the music and playing an instrument, specifically guitar for me. And so I realized those kids need somebody to teach them guitar and probably give them guitars. And so I created a program where I was doing that. I was facilitating to foster kids, at-risk kids. I was getting them guitars and teaching them to play. That journey was so healing for me to watch, that I actually had the power with what I knew to be able to help these kids who needed that help. And I realized that I was coming full circle back to myself as a child. And I was actually doing for those children what I felt that I had not been able to receive outside of myself being able to play the guitar, learning how to play. And so being a teacher and facilitating the lessons and the mentoring and the instruments to kids, and then also adults coming in and asking all those questions, gave me this great insight into why music was so healing in so many different levels.
It's an amazing story, and it means so much that you've experienced something yourself and been able to see how it impacts others and what you can actually do to affect them and affect people in the future. That it's an amazing transformation. Yeah.
Thank you.
So what I want to be able to do is give our viewers a little piece of your art form. So I want to invite you to share something that's meaningful to you. And after you either play it or share it, to talk about how creating it has helped you heal.
Well, I'd like to talk about, thank you for asking for that, because one of the things I'm very proud of that ties into the Global Jam for Peace and all the work that I'm doing is this song called The Peace Anthem. And it is an acoustic rock song that I wrote with the intention of providing a song and giving a song to these kids where I was working with. I realized that they needed a song that would bring them together because they came from many different backgrounds, and there were these divides, and they all had different types of music that they liked, but they didn't have something that they would all play together. So I thought, oh, I'll create that. And as I wrote that song and I put down words that I'd been working on, I had parts of the song coming to me over years, and I had put them all together into this peace anthem and created that, recorded it, and got the kids playing it. As I reflected back on listening to the song and playing it so many times, I realized not only did I write the song for them, but I was writing it for myself. It was the peace anthem for me, and it was also tied into a vision that I'd had when I was a really young child. I had this vision of the entire world coming together, all places being in a place of peace, and that peace, the peace anthem tied into the program with the kids, and then tied into the big vision, which is to unite the entire world in peace and love using the universal language of music.
Imagine if we all had guitars that we could strum. We'd all be making music in the streets and having fun. Imagine if we all could have respect and love and peace. Listen as the music sets us free. Well, set me free to be who I wanna be. Set me free to climb this ladder to my dreams.
It started as something that was a vision for the kids, it sounds like, and then it turned into something that was healing for you and also a bigger vision now for the world. So how are you giving that message? How are you relaying the message? Are you distributing it in ways that other people can hear it? What's your process like?
So there are a few different elements there. One, because I'm the director for Make Music Day in Washington, D.C., and the founder of the Global Jam for Peace, I'm putting those two together, the two programs. And I have access to 120 countries, 800 cities. Then this past year, for 2018, it was our third year. And we're getting musicians in all of those different locations to all do their version of the peace anthem. We have kids who are singing in South Africa that don't even have instruments, and they're just doing it, just singing together, and sheer joy. And then I have seeing them play. You can see how much they're expressing the joy of this peace anthem. And then I have professional artists of many different styles of music who are all doing their own version. I have a country version, I have blues versions, jazz versions, pop and rock versions. And I'm reaching out to big name musicians who, to ask them if they would record and do versions of it. But the goal is that with the access to 120 countries, 800 cities, and it will grow by 2019. On June 21st, the summer solstice, when all of these celebrations of Make Music Day, when musicians are all in the streets all over, they'll all be performing. We'll have synchronized times when people live stream or they do live events, and the big event, the concert event, is live streamed. And all of these musicians all playing. It's a global symphony. They're all playing at the same time. And it's a recurring global symphony. And music, when everybody comes together to see music performed, we all unite, and because it's a universal language. And you think about other situations, there's really nothing else that brings everybody together to in a very happy way other than playing music in a live performance. And so having all of these countries and all of these cities connected together is where the vision comes together. And that ties all the way back to when I was a little kid in the islands of the Florida Keys, and I had that vision of all of these people coming together. I didn't realize it until I backtrack. It's easy to go hindsight, and see how all the dots connect. But looking back, that's how all of that connects back to when I was very young.
It's amazing. I love the vision. I think it's beyond just something that's a big vision. You're making something real. You're creating an avenue for artists and musicians to participate, and you're going to have such a huge impact. I just wanted to see if you wanted to share any life lessons or maybe impart some final words.
Some tips that I have for anybody who's interested in excelling and changing, shifting their life is to embrace the power of music and playing an instrument. Science shows that there is nothing else that a human being does or can do that will activate as much of the brain as listening to music, and then beyond that is playing an instrument. So I recommend that if anyone ever feels that call to play any type of instrument, embrace that. Go out, get the instrument, get started, find a good teacher who can show you how to begin on that instrument and begin that journey. It is never too late, and it's never too early. You could start as soon as you are 6 months old with a ukulele, and you could be 99 and playing an instrument as well. And the other thing is sonic meditation. I run sonic meditations called Listening to Smile, And that is designed to help people heal through traumas and also shift out of stress and reach places of bliss. It's a combination of meditation, aromatherapy, and listening to specific vibrations. And that was the real life lesson for me, was that the power of music is not just in our songs that we enjoy, but there's actual frequencies that are medicinal. And I'll be writing about it in my next book. Music is medicine. Music is my medicine. It's been my medicine. And here is a book that has a short summary of my story in it. It's called Keep Smiling, Shift Happens. It's about the power of smiling and the power of music to shift you to a good place. It's the Washington, D.C. Version. It has the Washington Monument on this side over here. And then it has the Baltimore Crab over here.
To sum up, it sounds like play an instrument, find a mentor, and find some sonic meditation or sound healing. Thank you so much for being here, Greg. It was really nice to talk to you.
Thank you for having me.